All right, let's talk about what's happening in Washington. These really high stakes negotiations over U.S. border policy are back on the table. But what are they actually talking about? We're going to break down the key issues at the very heart of this debate.
So, after a bit of a pause, lawmakers are back in the Capitol. And you better believe these critical negotiations have officially started up again, putting border policy right at the top of their to-do list. And look, this isn't just some routine meeting. The pressure is seriously on to find some kind of bipartisan agreement on what's become one of the most polarizing and, frankly, complex issues in American politics today. Okay, but border policy is a huge topic, right? So what are the specific things they're actually arguing over? What are the individual pieces they're trying to put together? Let's get into it. You know, when you peel back all the layers of political talk, this entire negotiation really boils down to three main pillars. If you can get a handle on these, you'll have a much better idea of what a final deal might actually look like. So the whole debate really centers on three areas. First up, asylum standards. Negotiators are talking about making those initial screening requirements tougher for asylum seekers, hoping to weed out claims that aren't legitimate. Then you've got enforcement authority. This is a big one. It includes ideas for a new presidential power to basically shut down the border if the number of crossings gets too high. And finally, there's funding. We're talking a big chunk of money for more Border Patrol agents, new inspection tech, and just more resources to process migrant cases a lot faster.
But getting everyone to agree on these things isn't just about finding a middle ground. It's about trying to solve a fundamental tension that sits right at the core of the entire U.S. immigration system.
You know, administration officials have put it pretty plainly themselves. They've framed the challenge as balancing border enforcement with legal immigration processes. And that really hits on the core dilemma, doesn't it? How do you create a system that's both secure and orderly, one that can stop illegal crossings, but still have a working pathway for people who are trying to follow the rules? This is the fundamental trade-off they're wrestling with. On one side, you have this huge demand for stricter enforcement, for getting control of the border. But on the other side, there's a real need to make sure the system for legal immigration doesn't just grind to a halt. Any deal that's going to pass has to thread this needle perfectly. It has to give something to both sides without completely losing their supporters. So with that incredibly difficult balancing act in mind, where are these talks actually headed? What's the ultimate goal here? The endgame here isn't just, a handshake or a press conference. The real goal is a formal legislative agreement. We're talking about a detailed bill that could actually pass both houses of Congress and get signed into law, which would fundamentally change U.S. policy for years. And well, that's pretty much where things are right now. This whole process is a marathon, not a sprint. The negotiators are still at the table, and from what we hear, they're going line by line through the text of the bill, trying to hammer out all these final contentious details.
And this, of course, is the billion-dollar question. With so much intense political pressure coming from every direction, can they actually find a path forward and get a deal done? Whether they succeed or fail, the outcome of these talks is going to have major, major implications for the border for a long time to come.